Joseph, Heath, Schuler, and Tennessee. Some scouts say that Schuler would be another Drew Bledsoe, a likely top draft pick and instant NFL starter if he comes out this year. He's also impressed the dog defenders.
I see many quarterbacks. I'm not a prejudiced person or anything like that, but you see a white quarterback, usually they can only throw the ball and not run so well. But this guy, he has excellent speed, good quickness, and he can throw the ball. It's good also.
The Allman brothers were wrong. They aren't always having a good time down on the bayou.
Off the drawing board yet. Leonard's loser, LSU.
Everybody's picking winners, but nobody picked losers. So I said, I think I'll just give them some exposures. I'll pick the losers. I'm 100% right on all my picks, but about 20% of the teams don't play the game right.
You may dispute his accuracy. You can't argue with his originality. Leonard has his own lexicon, his own team nicknames.
Ohio State.
The hard shells from the Columbus Nut Farm.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, that's that rose-colored outlaws from Lubbock.
Miami.
The Matzah Warriors, the Hebrew Canes, they're my Jewish team.
South Carolina.
Oh, those are the Dominickers from over there at the Columbia Poultry Company.
Something else we can't argue with, as Leonard's own BMW vanity plate proves, picking losers can be very profitable. Against double threat Heath Schuler and the Vols. See, desperation time for the Dogs. And then also the Big Orange of Syracuse. That game coming up just Knoxville, Georgia against Tennessee. The Dogs haven't started 0-2 since 1979. They'll have to spring the upset or their conference dreams will be over, and it's a very tall order.
This will be a classic matchup between two great college quarterbacks. It will be a lot of fun to watch. Heath Schuler, who directs the University of Tennessee on offense, has a reputation for being a great running quarterback. That's his reputation. But his arm strength, check out the free safety, can't get there and make the play. That's a real plus for him. It will allow them to utilize their running game. Tennessee, too well-rounded. Running game, wide receivers, and offensive line. Way too much.
Wait a second, my friend. I agree with you. Tennessee had over 500 yards last week in offense. Georgia's down from South Carolina's loss. Lee's loser, Georgia.
We got Leonard's loser, Lee's loser. Georgia's got to stop making those mental mistakes on the kicking game.
Fuller quarterback matchup steals the headlines. The deciding factor will be Tennessee's edge at running back with Charlie Garner, Aaron Hayden, and James Stewart. The Vols also had the more reliable kicker in John Becksport. Georgia's Cannon Parkman missed the field goal and had two others blocked last week.
3-2 Georgia, number 10 Tennessee. It's desperation time for the Dogs, who already have one loss. It's also a great quarterback matchup. Two juniors, Eric Zier of Georgia, who outplayed Steve Tannehill in a losing effort, and, of course, Heath Schuler of Tennessee, who emerging as one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Guys, you can really do it all. We see the scrambling ability, the running ability, a great arm, and great mobility.
Chris, what I like about Schuler, he's 6'3", 210. He's a quarterback. The running back playing a quarterback position. He puts pressure on the defense, especially near the goal line.
You know, Lee, most running quarterbacks have a hard time throwing with accuracy on the long ball. This is what impresses me about Heath. He has the ability to throw the long ball. That's something that's tough to accomplish.
Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink soft drinks. He's got no vices. He's too good to be true. He's the pride of Bryson City, North Carolina, joining us live from Knoxville. How are you handling Schuler mania, Heath? I mean, you come from a small town that's 1/6 the size of the stadium you play in.
That's really neat. It's a good opportunity to come to a large school and come from a very small town in the mountains of western North Carolina. And just most importantly thing for me to remember is where I came from and the tradition in Swain County, and to respect my family name.
I know the folks at the Family Yogurt Shop are excited about your success. What's the difference at Tennessee this year from last year? You don't have the revolving coach situation. Has the offense been opened up to feature your talents a little bit more?
I don't know. We're just going to play offensively. We have the talent in the backfield with the three great running backs, the wide receivers, and now we have the what I would call not necessarily a young line, but a talented line going into this season. They got a lot of games under their belt, and that's exactly where the game will be won, is at the line of scrimmage.
Heath, what different kinds of challenges does this Georgia defense put on you?
I really look at the secondary, number one, but I think their major strength is at the linebacker. They do a great job getting involved in the running situations, and also the passing situations. They drop deep and get into the coverages, so it's really difficult to find a open receiver, and but we're just going to have to work on that offensively and hit the open man.
So when you look at the films, then you're wondering, is it going to be the linebackers dropping in coverage or supporting run? What do you think personally you'll have more success with?
I'll tell you what, if we stay balanced with a 50-50 run pass, just sort of keep them off balance, that'll be the, the game plan going into this game.
Who do you compare yourself to, Heath, as a quarterback?
Compare myself to?
Yeah.
I really don't know. I think Joe Montana, as far as the leadership abilities, I feel that that's the strongest point from a quarterback. The running ability, I just try to run as hard as I can and give it 110% effort. And if I could throw as well as some of the guys in the NFL, that'd make me happy too.
I know you're a team guy and you're not thinking about individual awards, but it has to be kind of heady stuff. You heard what maybe some scouts have said. They talked about you as maybe another Drew Bledsoe, and you see him starting in the NFL already as a rookie, and they're saying maybe you're ready next year.
I don't know. I'm just going to let this season go out, and, if you ever have that opportunity, then that means you're playing very well. Hopefully I'll have the opportunity, but I look forward to staying here 2 more years.
Hey, Marcus Crandall for East Carolina, he's surprising some of us. You say you played against him in high school. Yeah, we played against them my senior year in high school at the state championship game. I really don't know if he was a quarterback, but I love to see young guys go out and compete and play as well as he is tonight. All right, we thank you for joining us, and good luck on Saturday night. The Vols and the Bulldogs. Heath Schuler from Knoxville. Well, that'll be our prime-time game at 7:30 Eastern Time, following our Residents in College Football scoreboard at 7 o'clock.
College football preview continues. He ran over was Bill Bates, and Herschel Walker and Bill Bates would later become teammates in the NFL with the Cowboys, where they could laugh about that. But there will be little camaraderie in Knoxville today in a game which will not only feature 2 of the best quarterbacks in the conference, but 2 of the best in the country. Georgia's Eric Zier did everything but win last week against South Carolina, and that's the one thing the Dogs need him to do this week. All the while, Tennessee's Heath Schuler was looking every bit a Heisman Trophy candidate in a whitewash of little Louisiana Tech. But now an SEC Eastern Division showdown, which is big for both.
Georgia will come into Tennessee very angry. I think probably more angry since they've lost. They've kind of got their back to the wall as far as the conference race, although they're certainly not nearly out of it. I would expect a very tough, hard-fought football game either way.
We got to forget about last week. Last week's in the past. We just got to look forward to the future. And to do that, we got to prepare ourselves for Tennessee. We got to come out and do what we got to do in all aspects of the game, especially the kicking game.
Well, Georgia not only 0-1 already in conference play, but 0-1 in the SEC's Eastern Division. Head coach Ray Goff says this one's not a must-win game. But what else is he going to say, Danny?
Well, first of all, I don't blame him, but it's definitely a must-win game. A loss here, Georgia would start at 0-2. That'd be their worst start since 1979. It would virtually eliminate them from the Eastern Division Conference. I'd say it's mildly, putting it very mildly. Heck yeah, it's a must-win.
Right, in that division that also includes Tennessee and Florida. It'd be tough to come back and make it to the SEC.
Right. More simplistic, that's why he's such a great passer. They got 500 yards last week. Heath Schuler, the key, I think he's going to be too much for Georgia.
Well, and Eric Zier will have to counter everything that Heath Schuler does for Georgia. And Zier, the biggest plus that he has going for him and for the University of Georgia is that he's a veteran, an old wily veteran that's been through these Southeastern Conference battles. He will not be flustered by the 95,000-plus fans at Neyland Stadium, and that is the biggest thing that he'll have going for him, is he'll have composure in the huddle.
Well, he may not be flustered, but I'm not sure about the rest of the Dogs. Yeah. They've been pretty mistake-prone in their losses, including games against Tennessee. We're going to come back, update the pennant races.
Time takes you to one of the greatest settings in all of college football. A game of significant importance in the SEC East, where the winner takes a leg up in a very tough division. For the Volunteers of Tennessee, tonight is the first step in a very difficult conference schedule. And for the Georgia Bulldogs, they haven't forgotten last year's loss to Tennessee in Athens, a game that kept them from an SEC championship showdown. Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, Tennessee, one of the places we truly enjoy bringing you a college football game from. Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Franklin. Welcome once again to CFA Primetime here on ESPN. Well, over 96,000 people awaiting this SEC opener for the Volunteers tonight. And if you're a player, a coach, or a fan, Knoxville is a place you need to make one time in your life. Very few places equal the color and pageantry that you'll find here. Tennessee 1-0, Georgia 0-1, and that was a conference loss. They can ill afford to stumble again if they're going to have a true shot at this year's SEC title.
It's a huge game, and, you know, our thinking is that we don't want to lose another one without a doubt, and I really don't think we can afford to.
We can't come away with a loss because, you know, it's crunch time now.
There's desperation, and we have to have this win.
Tonight, we'll see 2 of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, maybe 2 of the best in the country.
Georgia's Eric Zier, outstanding drop-back passer, he has the unique ability to find throwing lanes. He's a patient quarterback that'll sit in the pocket and take the pressure. Keith Schuler of Tennessee, he can beat you a couple different ways. First of all, he's an excellent ball handler, hides the football well, strong rifle arm. He can also run the football and hurt you. These are two special quarterbacks.
The number one thing I can say about Eric is the way he has patience, and he's real poised in the huddle. I mean, in the pocket, he don't make a bad mistake. He's a leader. He throws the layoffs when necessary. He throws a big pass when they need it. He's just an all-around top quarterback.
Just a super quarterback and a super guy, and he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. He goes out and he works hard and plays with a lot of emotion, but spreads it around to his team, and he's out there for his football team and for his football team to win games, and that's what it's all about.
ESPN's presentation of CFA Primetime Football is brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low rates, by Georgia Pacific Corporation, and by Domino's, where you always get great pizza plus something for nothing. Tennessee, and what a gorgeous sight as the sun is about to disappear in the west, and not a seat to be had. Those checkerboards, well, Tennessee would like to fill them tonight, and so would the Georgia Bulldogs. They'll have to if they're going to stay alive in the SEC race. Now let's go down to the sidelines and check out exactly what the atmosphere is like there. With us tonight, Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Thank you very much, Ron, and hello, everyone. Tonight's matchup marks the 23rd meeting between Georgia and Tennessee. In the series, it's all tied up, 10 wins each and 2 ties. 11 of the past 22 meetings have been settled by 7 points or less, including last year's thriller in Athens, Georgia. Volunteers trailed by 4 points with 50 seconds of play. Schuler dives across from the 3-yard line to put Tennessee up 34-31. Seconds remain. Zier back to pass. He has Andre Hastings 34 yards, but Hastings will fumble, and Tennessee recovers to salvage a 3-point victory. Folks, that's the history. Georgia and Tennessee. It's almost never decided until the final seconds. And Ron, it should be the same here tonight.
Jerry, I think you're exactly right. In fact, we would be surprised. Here's the coin toss.
And it is head. Tennessee, let it go.
Dick Burleson, the referee tonight. Tennessee has won the toss, and they have deferred to the second half. You're looking at number 73. That's Bernard Williams, the senior out of Memphis, Tennessee, the huge offensive tackle for the Georgia Bulldogs, 6'9", 310 pounds, as the Bulldogs will get the decision here in the first half. Ray Goff, 5th year as the head man at the University of Georgia. His first 2 years, 10 and 13. But the last 2 years, 19 and 6. And Mike Gottfried last year, just within a breath, 5 points of being perfect on the year. Across the way, the new head coach, he was interim head coach last year for the first 3 games and then for the bowl game, is Philip Fulmer. He won his opener last week, so a record of 5-0 here at the University of Tennessee. And Mike, as we go into this one tonight, it has been a semi-upset Saturday, so to speak. What are your thoughts about this one this evening?
Ron, it's going to be important for somebody to establish the run, either Tennessee or Georgia. I look for Georgia to come out and throw the ball all over the park tonight. But one of these two teams has to establish the run.
Georgia's huddle on the near sideline. It is broken, and the Dogs are ready to get this one underway. They had a little bit of a harrowing experience as they came in yesterday, and the charter flight that they were on dropped about to get to Knoxville, maybe even more so than they had been about 2 hours prior. John Bexford will kick it off for the Tennessee Volunteers.
And Mike, here's a situation on special teams where a young man really has become a weapon because he does not have many returned. Special team coaches and head coaches love that situation.
Well, Larry Marmie, the defensive coordinator, loves it because he kicked almost every kick in the end zone last week. So if they can start that way and force Georgia to start on the 20, it'll be a plus for the Tennessee defense.
Hassan Graham, number 4. He is to the far side. One return, 31 yards last week. Return it. Now here are the starting lineups for Russell Athletic. For the Georgia Bulldogs, Eric Zier. Front, a lot of new faces, but Bernard Williams, the youngster we showed you a moment ago, you've seen smaller condominiums, and he is an extremely fine player. 6'9", 310. Starters on defense for the Volunteers of Tennessee. Certainly he will make our all-name team, but he'll make a lot of other people's team as well. Horace Morris, senior out of Miami, very good pass rusher. The linebackers for the Tennessee Volunteers, Ben Talley is the veteran. Keep an eye for number 90 tonight. Other two youngsters still looking for more experience. And in the secondary, Jason Parker started 10 games last year as a freshman, only a sophomore. Number 10 from Garland, Texas. Number 7, I beg your pardon. Blitz from the outside. Zier will be hit and knocked down, and it's Ben Talley, number 90, the youngster we were just talking about, who is there for the sack.
One way to stop both these quarterbacks is get pressure on him. Ben Talley, an outside backer, lined up on the line of scrimmage at the last second. They blew a protection on him, and Ben Talley, number 90, with the quarterback sack.
And Mike, right now Georgia is backed up into the closer end of the bowl. That's part of the student section. I don't see how Zier can hear.
Ron, you look to Georgia to go to the shotgun as quickly as they can. If they're having trouble protecting him, here they go. They're going to the shotgun right now.
He's going to have to call timeout. So we'll take a break. Third down coming up. We played just over a minute in a real holler house here in Knoxville this evening. In this football game, but the crowd has already caused a problem for Georgia, and they've had to use a timeout early. Third down. The line to make is the 30. Ball is tipped, incomplete. It will be punting time. Scott Galen, a sophomore out of Seymour, Tennessee, is the man who got a hand on it. And a standing ovation for the defense.
Ron, I think you're going to see Eric Zier in the shotgun most of the evening because of the pass protection. It's a little shaky for Georgia, and the quick rush of Tennessee's outside ends will force them into the shotgun. Now Tennessee has a great chance on special teams to have excellent field position for their offensive football team.
Sean Summers, number 23, back in a single safety. You got a shot a moment ago of Scott Armstrong, the senior out of Jackson, the punter. Lazy spiral to the 49. And Summers will take it inside the 40. Take a look at the starters on offense for the Tennessee Volunteers tonight. Heath Schuler. You talk about a matinee idol in this part of the world. Youngster can't go anywhere without being mobbed, and he is an awfully good one. Number 21, Bryson City, North Carolina. The wide receivers, Craig Faulkner, decided to come back for another year. Richmond, Kentucky, and he wears number 4. And in the offensive front, well, Tennessee normally has very good offensive lines. They've done some shuffling. Last week, Bubba Miller, a sophomore at center, Franklin, Tennessee, graded extremely well. Schuler going to go downtown in the first play. Looking for Faulkner, and it is intercepted in the end zone by Georgia's Greg Trimble. Terrell Davis has 5, and he'll be knocked out of bounds at the 28. Victor Brown is the man defensively, and they're
ball handling threat, the tailback, so your play action pass, they play Eric Zier a little bit more.
The fullback spun out of bounds at the 36, tried to come back on the field, but Ronald Davis, junior out of Bartlett, Tennessee, is there to make the stop. And you look right here at Eric Zier, and he comes over with a big smile on his face. He's been sacked under duress early on here, and the crowd really in his ear, and he seems to be having a good time, Mike.
Well, last year in the first...
Bryce Hunter comes in the ball game, number 88 at wide receiver. Looking for his tight end, though, Shannon Mitchell. And close to the first down. They'll mark him out at the 41-yard line.
Ron, the most impressive thing when I watch tape on Eric Zier is he has the eyes of a quarterback to find his receiver. Now, look, he takes hits like that all the time, but yet he'll stand in the pocket.
Shane Bonham, who came in, might have been fortunate not to have gotten a flag because of a blow to the head. The pressure from the outside. Pass incomplete, and now here is a marker thrown at the 45, but it was Horace Morris, number 85, who was coming on that right side pell-mell.
Eric Zier, just a three-step drop, and he's taken a hit from Horace Morris, number 85, from the outside. Now, Tennessee likes to rush the defensive ends just on quick pass rushes from the outside. Last year, Horace Morris was a quick outside rusher.
So it brings up a fourth down in a punting situation. And Sean Summers again goes back deep as you look at Scott Armstrong. His first kick, 39 yards tonight. There's Sean. Sean is from just down the road at Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Excellent coverage by the Georgia special teams on the punt. Covered team, 38 yards in the kick, 7 on the return. We'll be right back to Knoxville. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And by AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time. No score, 12-19 left to play in this opening quarter. Georgia's had a couple of opportunities, and Eric Zier on the sideline has just visited with his coaches upstairs to see if they can find some combination. Garner tries to get outside, and he'll be knocked out of bounds at the 30. Take a look at the 1 year ago, already has an interception in the ballgame. Corey Fleming on the short drop and quick out, and that will be the initial first down for the Volunteers.
Ron, when you defense Tennessee, you must stop Heath Shuler. Not only as a passing quarterback, but as a running quarterback. He hurt Georgia last year with quarterback draw, quarterback sneak, quarterback counter, and when they sprint him out on the corner, he has a pass-run option.
Again, the short drop, and it works to perfection with Fleming again. Close to another Tennessee first down.
Little three-step drop just to get Heath Shuler's confidence started here tonight. Good protection by the Tennessee line. You just fire out on 3 steps and try to get the arms down of the defenders. Here's the catch by Corey Fleming. Just a short route, 5 steps, turn, catch the football. Now see what you can get after the catch.
It was Chad Wilson, number 19, a junior out of Jessup, Georgia, who wrestled him out of bounds. With a one back, and it's Garner who gets the call, tries to stiff arm Wilson, but he is able to bring him down after a gain of 3.
Last year, Ron, Heath Shuler versus Georgia, 152 passing yards, 81 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, but late in the game, he took over the football game. The game was entirely on his shoulders, and he won that football game with some great runs and great throws.
Well, the reason for that outburst was the announcement that Kentucky has jumped out in front of Florida in an SEC matchup tonight. This is Garner. Breaks off a tackle and a good, tough first down run, and it's a gain of 5. And And the flag comes into the pile, and we could have face masking against Georgia. And in talking with Richard Bell, the defensive coordinator, this youngster's out of the state of Washington, and he said he has really had trouble adapting to the heat of the Deep South, the heat and humidity.
Walla Walla Junior College. He was a basketball player out there for them.
No score, 11-22 left in this opening quarter. Garner wanted to go left. There was nothing there. He'll try to make his own and will be pushed out of bounds at the 32-yard line. And let's go down and get a check-in with Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Gentlemen, if you remember, the junior defensive tackle for Georgia. Back upstairs.
He's another very large one at 6'6", 300. Safety valve is going to pick up the first down. They'll spot him just inside the 25, and again, Chad Wilson. And I believe that's like 4 tackles for Wilson already tonight. He's been busy.
Here's the problem for Richard Bell, the defensive coordinator for Georgia. So many weapons. You try to defend Heath Schuler, but Charlie Garner is the player that can make the difference. David Cutcliffe, the offensive coordinator of Tennessee, said he's special. He can be a difference maker. He gained 2,000 yards his first year in junior college. He has excellent speed.
Again, Tennessee with the one setback. It is Charlie Garner. That's the handoff, and there is not much there. Philip Daniels, who we talked about in the lineups tonight, about Richard Bell thinks he's going to turn into a good one, is the man who is there to make the stop.
Here's the problem you have now for Jordan, to try to confuse the blocking assignments as much as they can inside.
You got to look at number 33 for Tennessee, James Stewart, junior out of Morristown, Tennessee. He'll check in with Garner. The pass out. It's Stewart. Good open field hit, and he'll be knocked out of bounds. Randall Godfrey is the first man who got there. As Tennessee tried to flood that zone with nobody behind, Heath Schuler rolled the pocket and couldn't get it to work to their advantage.
Randall Godfrey made a good play on that to stop that from being a big gainer.
Only a sophomore.
He's as good as they come.
They're down. They need the 15. Screen back to the short side, and Fleming will score. Schuler with the screen back to the short side of the field, and the number on his jersey, that's the distance it went. 21 yards for the touchdown by Corey Fleming. Bexford to attempt the extra point.
In the backfield. Watch the tackle here, Jason Lehman. He's going to make the key block. Just a quick set by Heath Schuler. Now the quick screen. Jason Lehman now picks up the block. Corey Fleming takes it the rest of the way for the Tennessee lead.
So Heath Schuler, Mike, threw an interception on his first pass of the afternoon. As you look at Lehman, the big linemen don't get a lot of credit, but as you said just a moment ago, through the key block, number 66, a sophomore, 6'5", 285, to lead the way for Corey Fleming. Now back to what I was talking about. Schuler intercepted on his first throw of the evening, has now completed 5 in a row. And for Fleming, his third catch, 41 yards and 1 touchdown. So it's 10 plays, 71 yards, 215, 4 run, 6 pass, and Fleming with the 21-yard reception.
Ron, there's a penalty on the kickoff. Now, Georgia should end up with very good field position. 15-yard penalty. Tennessee's backed up. Georgia now has a great opportunity to receive the kick and start with good field position for their offense.
So the celebration cost the Volunteers 15, and they'll kick it off in their own 20. Bexford to do it.
A mistake you don't want if you're Philip Fulmer, the Tennessee coach.
Jerry German with the 25. Oh, a coverage by Tennessee. Only 7 yards on the return, and number 16, Victor Brown, the senior from Savannah, Georgia, almost took his head off.
Victor Brown, number 16, is the strong safety on defense, really closed well. He's 6'1", 205. If you drew up a strong safety, that's exactly what you want, somebody that's strong and quick.
Shotgun again for Georgia. Hassan Graham, the little... Got him open, overthrew Graham just a tad. That was a nice job that time by the offensive front. Williams, Roberts, Brown.
They do not have to huddle up. They can match Georgia and not go into huddle.
Senior from Hampton, Virginia, will bring this crowd to their feet again.
Ron, here's what's happening. Tennessee is keeping their composure. They're getting the calls from the sideline. They adjust. Reggie Ingram, the middle linebacker, on a little blitz. James Wilson from the side. Pressure on Eric Zier. Couldn't get it off.
And offsides called against Tennessee. So erase the sack, which was the second against Georgia tonight. And the
Tennessee, and that's another mistake that they've made to give him another chance, another series.
Georgia was the team last week that was mistake-laden against South Carolina. Tennessee gives the Bulldogs an extra opportunity here. Lofts it over the middle, and he's got Shannon Mitchell, and Mitchell will pick up another Georgia first down, a gain of...
That quick release, that's offsetting the pass rush of Tennessee at this point.
Inside the 35, and he's down to the 34, and it
had success here.
Bill Fulmer looks on his team leading by 7, but a bit more concerned after a penalty gave the Bulldogs a reprieve. Morris with the pressure. Pass incomplete as Graham could not hold on at the 19.
Looked to me like there was a holding call also on the Tennessee defensive end, Horace Morris.
Mike, you're right. Morris was through very quickly, and let's check the call. That's it.
I think it was Paul Taylor, number 52. Right here, you're going to have Paul Taylor, and the quick rush by Horace Morris really will give Paul Taylor some problems. So what do? You have to kind of pull him aside a little bit. Costly penalty.
So if you just joined us, 7-0 Tennessee.
the Vols had held that a 5-yard offside penalty. Georgia picked up the first down. They gained 11 on a pass to the tight end, and now the holding call is going to push it way back beyond the 50.
Ron, the point is, if he was taking the ball from the center and dropping back, quarterback would have never got the pass off. So that's what the shotgun's doing for Eric Zier. That is his protection tonight, the shotgun.
Ball in the 48. They need the 24-yard line of Tennessee. Shannon Mitchell lined up in the backfield again, number 82. That's who they're throwing to, the middle screen, and Tennessee reads it like it was their own play. Yatkowski, the senior out of Winnipeg, Canada, is there to make the hit.
What you have to do if you're Georgia, if you're going to play shotgun all night, you have to find a way to slow down the rush. So what do they try to do? Come back with a quick screen to Shannon Mitchell, but Paul Yatkowski, number 99, reads it right away. You have to shovel draw, Ron. You have to run the ball out of the shotgun. You have to keep that rush honest.
Flag is down, and Mike, I'll tell you what they're going to get him for here in just a second, as the pass is intercepted by Tennessee at the 21. The flag is going to be against Georgia. The left offensive tackle was off the ball, the new rule that they are enforcing this year.
Well, if you're right, Ron, and I have no reason to doubt you because you have great eyes, he's off the ball because Horace Morris is going about 100 miles an hour.
That's the call. Procedure against Georgia. Jason Parker is the man who comes up with the pickoff, the sophomore from Garland, Texas.
First 2 times Horace Morris went by him, he didn't catch his number. And so he was going to try to help himself a little bit, but just backing up. But that doesn't work. There's the pressure inside. Eric Zier throws off the wrong foot. If you notice there, he threw with his foot moving to the outside. Watch how he throws off balance. Feet are really in trouble there, and he just couldn't get anything on the ball. Jason Parker, who started 9 games as a freshman, makes the interception.
So Tennessee scrimmages from their own 21. And this is Brunson, who takes it straight ahead. Big fullback. Senior out of Portsmouth, Virginia. 6'1", 246.
Ron, Horace Morris, number 85, has got Eric Zier in his sights all night. Now, if they run the shotgun all night, Horace Morris has a great advantage against Paul Taylor, the offensive tackle.
There's a hole, has 5, has 10, counted off at 11. First down, Tennessee.
Mario Brunson, the fullback. He's 255 pounds with an excellent block. But, Ron, when we started this game, I said the team that can get the running game moving is going to have a great advantage of winning this game. Tennessee, so far, has started running the football with success. You see the block by Mario Brunson. 6'1", 250 pounds. A load coming at you at the fullback spot.
And you can see the head rock back. 7-0. Volunteers lead. Under 7 to play opening quarter. Schuler got Fleming wide open. A check of Kurt Faulkner, and that's good for the first down at the 48. Well, coming up tomorrow at noon, it's another edition of the Emmy Award-winning NFL Game Day. Chris highlights and analysis of every NFL game. If it happens on Sunday, you'll see it on NFL Primetime. Good stick at the line of scrimmage by Georgia, and it was Phillips who got breaded.
Talk about
Schuler going to go long. Kendrick Jones pulled up, then came back to the ball, as you can see, just a little too tall. Let's go down to Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Gentlemen, senior wide receiver for Tennessee, Chris Faulkner, suffered a serious compound fracture of his left wrist. Greg Faulkner of his left wrist in a motorcycle accident 2 years ago. Although he played in all 12 games last year, he was not without pain. This past spring, he walked away from football after advice took physicians that it may necessitate an early surgery on his wrist. Later in the summer, he was reevaluated. They said, hey, it's not going to make any difference. It's going to require surgery anyway. So Faulkner came back to the football team, much to the delight of head coach Phil Fulmer back up there.
Thanks, Jerry. Schuler had hit 6 in a row before that miss right there. Gets the
this one completed. It's Corey Fleming. And that is good for the Tennessee first down. It's a big third down conversion for the men from Knoxville.
Corey Fleming off to a good start, but last year he made a key play in the Tennessee-Georgia game. Heath Schuler is intercepted, but watch Corey Fleming, the intended receiver, come back, strip the ball, recover the fumble, and you talk about a big play for Tennessee last year. Corey Fleming became a defensive player as a receiver to recover that fumble.
Trimble finally stop him at the 14.
Ron, number 71, Bubba Miller, the center, just gets an excellent block that springs Charlie Garner. But when you're throwing the ball successfully, you're running outside, you try to invite the pass rush up the field, and then you hit him with a draw, and Charlie Garner for a big gain. They've got a lot of weapons here on offense they're using against this Georgia defense, and they have Georgia's defense off balance.
25 yards on that play, and he has joined a very exclusive club. Look at this. Garner, Hayden, and Stewart all over 1,000 yards career rushing here at Knoxville. Going to lose one there. 4 minutes, 7-0. Tennessee, and the ball's driving. Will keep it and knocked out at around the 13-yard line. Muschamp, a junior from Rome, Georgia, got him.
Ron, when Tennessee gets inside the 30 and the 20-yard and in the scoring zone, they're almost unstoppable. Some great statistics when they get the football in here. Inside the 20, 45 possessions, 29 touchdowns, 12 field goals. And the reason for that, Heath Schuler, because he can run, he can throw, he can run up inside. Just gives you the extra dimension inside the 20.
This is the 11th play of the drive, Mike. Third down, they need the foul. Flag is thrown at the 17-yard line. I assume Faulkner is the man. And that's a job, of course, that now the head coach had been handling for so many years. So Steve was asked back, and Philip Fulmer says he really has the utmost confidence in him.
That's the one job you don't want when the head coach is the ex-offensive line coach.
Bexport to attempt the field goal. They'll put it down at the 19. Wide left. So we'll take a break. 3:45 left in this opening quarter. 7-0 ball. Quarter, 7-0 Tennessee. And isn't that a gorgeous shot? Tonight's appearance by the Blockbuster Video Blimp, part of its 1993 maiden tour through the eastern half of the United States. And we welcome the Blockbuster Video Blimp and its crew to tonight's broadcast. Boy, some great pictures tonight. And a beautiful, clear evening here in East Tennessee.
Ron, that was a big miss on that field goal for Tennessee after driving down inside the 20.
Bohannon with the catch, and let's go and get an update from Mike Tirico.
Ron, big one we'll be watching.
Big one up there. Big Ten trying to regain a little respect today, Mike. They got roughed up a little bit. Davis. Tennessee did a good job of stringing the play out. Then he was able to turn the corner, and Raymond Austin is there defensively.
He is big.
6'9", 310, yeah. First down at the 33 for Georgia. Jeff Thomas on the completion across the 40 to the 41. Ronald.
He didn't have good luck out at Arizona with the Playboy All-American team.
That must have been a tall horse, huh?
I think he was a little younger when he got kicked.
Oh, I see. Zaire with the quick out pass, and Bohannon will have it for the Georgia first down across the... Zaire throws it incomplete, and I'll tell you, Shannon Mitchell, which is all alone at the 48-yard line, and was hoping that he would get a shorter throw because he might have been able to pick up that first down. Next week with CFA Primetime will be in North Carolina as the number 15 ranked Tar Heels take on the number 1 ranked Florida. This one he throws to Graham, and is going to be short of the first down at the 45. And let's go back to Mike Tirico. The state football team has been showing a lot of savvy. They scored 45 last week against Mississippi State to knock them off.
Their quarterback is Steve Matthews, who used to be here at Tennessee. On third down, Terrell Davis. I don't know. I don't believe so. They're going to give him a spot just inside the 45, and Horace Morris, 85, is down at the bottom. First big decision for Ray Goff. I think you have to go for this here on the road. I don't think they made it on that play, but I think you have to come back and go for it. Ray has no choice. You got to go for this. Can't keep putting the ball in the hands of the other quarterback. You have to keep your offense on the field. But now they're in problems because of the 25-second clock. They're in the world of trouble right here. 13 on the clock. They're going to probably call timeout and talk it over. They have to. Either that or they're going to let it run down and take the... Now they called it there. Okay. In the meantime, let's go down to the sideline and check in with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Guys, tonight's matchup marks the 25th anniversary of the first ever college football game played on artificial turf. The year was 1968 right here at Neyland Stadium. It cost $250,000 to pull up the grass and put down the rug. It was a typical Georgia-Tennessee finish. Bubba White from Tennessee completes a 2-yard pass with no time on the clock to salvage a tie, 17-17 all, the first time here on the artificial rug. And you know something, guys? This rug was put down in 1986. It's due to come up this year, but they're not going to put a new rug in. They're going to go to real grass here at Tennessee. Why? Well, a couple of reasons. Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, they all have grass. The coaches here are concerned about possibly the rug being used as a negative recruiting plug. Also, the blood rule. You get scratched on a rug, you got to cover it up. Possibly a liability there, but don't worry about it, you Tennessee fans. This checkered flag end zone right here will be here because it's just as easy to paint grass as it is carpet. Back upstairs.
That's something they know well here. They had the checkerboard end zones long before they had that artificial turf, Mike.
Ron, a gutsy call here would be a play-action pass with Eric Zaire.
Look at the Tennessee secondary, though, because they agree with you that Georgia might think of that. Running play, and they'll have it.
Ray Goff trying to encourage his offense to keep moving. Looked to me like they had some youth in the secondary and some problems at linebacker for Phil Fulmer's team. So that's where you really have to try to measure them up a little bit.
Into the first quarter, Tennessee. Morning, and at breakfast we were talking about the entire front page, and actually what it is like a sleeve of the newspaper with both of these guys' pictures on there, the headlines of the game, as you see the numbers in that opening quarter for both. But this is bigger than life in this part of the world.
Things are in Georgia's hands a little bit right now. They're gaining confidence as they go along.
inside the 20, and Ronald Davis will finally stop him at the 16-yard line.
That hurt Tennessee.
Following the 20-yard run, Zaire cannot get away from James Wilson, and he will be sacked. Officially, it's the second one. Mike, actually, it's the third. On the last one, Tennessee was offside.
The reason they decided to go back to the quarterback under the center is because you still have a hard time running out of the shotgun. Here's a good fake, but you see the missed block by number 52, Paul Taylor. James Wilson, just the speed rush on the outside. They're too tough on the outside for those tackles.
It also says a lot about Zaire. Bryce Hunter was partially open. A lot of quarterbacks just throw it. He knew better than to take the chance. And
you're right. You're right. Good decision maker.
Terrell Davis. A little bit of running room as he is stopped at the 19. That's Georgia.
See the rushing yardage. That's the problem for Georgia right now. Only 27 yards rushing.
Pressure up the middle. Pass is caught and then dropped. Did he have possession? They say no. Oh, what a big drop. That was enough for the first down.
Ron, the ball was right on the money. Eric Zaire did rise to the occasion and drilled the football to Bryce Hunter. Just couldn't hold on. Eric Zaire with that good, solid release. You see the ball right on the money here. Just Bryce Hunter, number 88, starts to run, and the ball pops out. I don't know if he had it long enough or what.
Yeah, very close.
Good question. Victor Brown in coverage.
Parkman with the field goal attempt. Hit it a little low, but he hit it straight, and Georgia is on the scoreboard. Just over 13 minutes to play until halftime. 37-yard field goal by Kenneth Parkman, a sophomore out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. Mikey had a rough week last week. 2 blocked and he missed 2. And we're going to show you something here in just a moment after he kicks off. This one 2 yards deep in the end zone, and Williams will bring it out. Billy Williams out to the 29-yard line. We learned last night from the Georgia head coach and his staff that Parkman had, in fact, slightly pulled a muscle. This is in warm-up, Mike, and you can tell that he is kind of touching on the side of that leg. He hadn't kicked since Tuesday. We didn't know if he's going to be able to go tonight or not.
Well, he had a good kickoff there because he kicked the ball in the end zone, but he may be a factor in the late game for a long field goal if it's hurting him.
Well, he was accurate on his first one tonight, and his first of the year. Hayden in the ball game. He gets stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Philip Daniels right there to hit number 24 and stop him for no gain. Mike, talk about the luxury that Philip Fulmer has when you have tailbacks like Garner, Hayden, and Stewart. These other 2 guys are waiting in the wings for their turn.
Well, it's a luxury, but it's also a problem because there's only one football on that field. You can't give it to everybody. Plus, the wide receivers want it also, and you want to keep it in the hands of the quarterback. But keeping them happy is difficult because they have to be role players, team players.
Play comes back to Hayden. Able to turn the corner just a bit, and now here's the late flag, as you can see, coming in. Whit Marshall defensively. Holding against the Volunteers.
There's the ball handling on the option by Heath Schuler, and here's the pitch to Aaron Hayden, and I believe they're going to call Craig Faulkner number 4. We're going to see him maybe come in at the last second.
Is the best point, particularly in the month of September when it is so hot. Right off tonight, the Volunteers are headed in that direction if they're not careful. Schuler's pass, and let's check in with Mike Tirico. Mike. The locals are not very happy because they wanted pass interference call, but Mike, I don't even think somebody on the sideline could have caught that easily. It was well overthrown, wasn't it?
He was tackled. The receiver was tackled by Charles Pledger, number 46.
Third down for the Vols. They need the 39-yard line. Phillips, he gets blasted. Left footer. Stands about 2 yards deep in his own zone. Craney is the Georgia. Good coverage kick. McCraney, the freshman, will have maybe 2 on the return. It's a 43-yard punt, so let's take a timeout. Davis tries to turn the corner, and he slips down at the 49-yard line. And let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Offensive line, he said, guys, we have lost control of the line of scrimmage. We have to get back control of this football game. In order to do that, we have to control up front, and you guys are the start. He told them we have to gain control of that offensive line of scrimmage. Back up there.
Thanks, Sharon. It's a great point. They played with such confidence in that opening quarter. In that last series, they didn't appear to have that same confidence.
The missed field goal started it for the University of Tennessee.
Davis gets outside, breaks it at the 30, a foot race, and he will be caught inside the 10-yard line.
For the linebackers, Terrell Davis showed some speed getting in the secondary.
Like that's a 40-yard run from scrimmage. Look at the numbers now for Davis from 9 rushes. Davis again tries to turn the corner, and he'll lose a yard.
If George is going to win this football game, Eric Zier has to win the football game for him because everything's on his shoulder. Garrison Hurst is playing tomorrow, and I'll win this game.
Blitz from the outside, and they go with the draw, and Davis will have a couple. They'll spot him down just outside the 7, and it's Victor Brown who is there.
Wayne McDuffie, the offensive coordinator, Hurst spoils you. I mean, he just spoils you because he was Larry Marmon, defense coordinator, says the best back we faced all year.
Lobs it in the end zone, knocked away. Incomplete. Deron Jenkins defensively.
That's close to pass interference on Deron Jenkins, number 18. Plays it very well against Jeff Thomas, number 8. Seemed close, seemed push him a little bit there at the end. Could have got called for pass interference. They're very fortunate he didn't. Deron Jenkins, number 18, knocks the football away. Eric Zier has to put a little bit more air under that one and get a little higher, outside more.
Parkman from 25, and he's got it.
Mix run pass.
Billy Williams. All the way back out to the 43-yard line, and Greg Trimble stopping.
Billy Williams is exciting, and he may be the next great receiver here at Tennessee. He's a junior college transfer, just turns on the jets. Now they have to find a way, because he's struggling a little bit learning the offense. They have to find a way to put him on the field as a wide receiver and get the ball in his hands catching the football.
Also from Alcoa, Tennessee. 38 yards on that return. Faulkner, and he'll take it up close to the 48-yard line.
When you don't cover the receivers, the quarterback's just going to raise up and throw the football, and that's what they did to Craig Faulkner, number 4. There was no one on him.
There are the numbers on Heath Schuler tonight: 8 of 13, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. And the interception came on the very first play from scrimmage by Tennessee tonight. Threw it deep into the end zone, and it picked off by Trimble.
Be thinking about next week when they get Tennessee down at Florida Field.
Oh, what a gorgeous shot right there. Over 96,000 people in here. And we mentioned the newspaper this morning about it. Everywhere you look, a lot of orange in this city. And on game day, they get to the stadium early, don't they, Michael?
We had a traffic jam trying to get through here.
They're parked miles down the highway.
Looking for Garner, knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Nice defensive play by Derek Smith. As it's completed, he breaks off the tackle, and Faulkner will have the first down at the 43-yard line.
Quarterbacks that make big plays. Keith Schuler is going to find the inside receiver, Craig Faulkner, number 4. Now, this should have been a catch, a tackle, and a 4th down. But he breaks the tackle of Greg Tremble, number 24, and moves the sticks down the field.
Well, Mike, they've got Billy Williams in the ballgame, number 80. Let's see if they try to go home run with him or what on first down. They go running play. Garner will be stopped after a gain of a couple. Clemens defensively.
You just noticed that he's on the field, Billy Williams. The coaches from Georgia are up here in the press box. They know he's on the field, too. So they're worried about the same thing you're just thinking about. They know he has great speed, and they're afraid that, they are going to try to throw the ball down the field to him.
Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Dr. Jerry Punch. And glad to have you along tonight. Knoxville, Tennessee. Opening SEC encounter for the Vols. They won last week a non-conference game. And for the Bulldogs, they fell at home to South Carolina. They're trying to get back in the race. And Schuler wants a timeout.
I don't think he got it in time. Flag was thrown, but they're going to give him the timeout.
So, timeout for Tennessee. And right now, time for our Toyota Leadership Award. And the winners this week are Georgia quarterback Eric Zier. He's a junior from Marietta, Winnipeg, Canada, and he's majoring in exercise physiology, and he maintains a 3.2 GPA. Paul's active in Tennessee's community outreach programs, visiting hospitals, and also is involved in elementary school reading and literacy programs. Toyota, proud to donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund on behalf of these athletes. By the way, I mentioned just a moment ago that Dr. Jerry Punch is with us on the sideline. As you know, Adrian Karsten is normally with us in that position. We send our thoughts and condolences to Adrian, a death in the family this week. He will be back with us next week in Chapel Hill. And Jerry, of course, we're very glad to have you along this evening. Score, but that offense trying to get it back on track right here. Hayden in the draw. Going to be a 3rd down and short. And Mike, Georgia has done a very good job for the most part of keeping the tailbacks from Tennessee in check.
Their linebackers are so good, led by Mitch Davis, number 58 from Viger High School in Mobile, Alabama, and Randall Godfrey, number 42. But the key player also is Charlie Clemens, the middle linebacker, number 48, because he has to make plays in this defense.
3rd down and 1.
Quarterback sneak.
Flag, and I'll tell you, there was movement, I believe, on the right side of the offensive line again.
You have a dead ball, 5-yard penalty, false start on the offense.
Steve Marshall scratching his head. It's a little movement out of the tight end. David Horn, number 82, just a little bit too soon. Ron, now if you're Georgia defensively, you have to think Faulkner because he's the key possession receiver for Tennessee. But you also can't forget about the tight end for Tennessee.
Mike, that is already 7 penalties against Tennessee for 50 yards. On Schuler, and he fumbled the football. They're going to say incomplete pass, and one of the reasons Tennessee only has 20 yards in the second quarter compared to 134 in that opening 15 minutes. McCraney backbeat for Georgia. The side of his foot, and it's going to now take a Georgia bounce, and it's going to go out of bounds.
And head coach Phil Fulmer here spoke with him, and what Fulmer was saying basically was, guys, we've got to grow up and control the football. We can make physical mistakes, but we cannot make mental mistakes. We have to avoid the penalties up front. Penalties are going to kill us. I can understand a physical mistake, but we got to think, guys. We got to grow up and think. And Fulmer turned around and walked away. You can see the long faces here on the Tennessee bench. back upstairs.
Gary, to back up your point we just mentioned, 7 penalties against Tennessee in the first half, 50 yards. Zier sets his feet, pass is tipped. That was Bohannon he wanted. Couldn't get up there to get it.
Ron, when I watch Eric Zier, just amazed at how he slides
by the ankle. Yakowski grabbed him, and Mike, if he hadn't, I think he might have had another 5 or 10 yards in front of him. He was breaking.
There was room between the linebackers. Linebackers are dropping right away because of pass, and that play has caused him some problems. Ray Goff looks on.
For the first down at the 38, now the 39-yard line, Hassan Graham.
Ron, Eric Zier with a nice job here of looking off. Gets the snap, and watch his head. Watch him look to the left side. He knows he's coming back to the right side now. Flips. Now there's the throw. Good job looking on.
Again, gets this one off in a hurry, and the ball is fumbled. Tennessee has recovered Parker. 2 turnovers by him or for him tonight. 1 an intercept, and now the fumble recovery, and it was Hunter who put it on the ground.
There was a boxing match the other night, Whitaker and Chavez, and I'm sure they went back and forth. This is the same kind of game we have right now with the quarterbacks. Back and forth executing. Eric Zier with a perfect pass. Bryce Hunter, number 88. This will remind Georgia fans of how the game ended last year. Victor Brown, 16, the strong safety, pulls the play, pulls the ball out. Now can Tennessee take advantage before half with 4:40 on the clock?
James Stewart, short yardage again.
Georgia last year had 6 turnovers in the game against Tennessee.
Bryce Hunter. And you could see he was trying to set the ball and also set sail, and about that time he got hit just as he's trying to caress it.
Nobody feels worse about it than Bryce Hunter, and what you do as a coach is, hey, and his teammates are the same thing. Hey, you're going to get another shot. Yeah. You'll just make the best of it the next time. You have to stay positive.
Schuler over the middle, has it complete to Fleming. Tackled at the 40-yard line, and that is a volunteer first down. Owens defensively.
Buster Owens, a defensive back from Georgia. Number 3 is the player that Georgia's secondary makes the big plays for him. 6 foot, 195-pound sophomore. Big play maker in the secondary.
He was a wide receiver, Mike. Came to school and said, no, guys like Bryce Hunter got a lot more talent than I think I need to play secondary. Running play by Stewart, and for the caliber of tailbacks that Tennessee has, Georgia has really done an impressive job so far of containing him tonight.
They have, and so far the Georgia defense has discouraged Heath Schuler from running the football, doing enough games inside with their linemen and linebackers that Tennessee is not called the draw.
See, Stewart's on the field, and Hayden and Garner standing right there beside each other, talking over situations in the game before they are called on to come in. Faulkner, 1st and 10, Tennessee at the 19-yard line. Wilson got it.
We watched Eric Zier just a minute ago look off a receiver. Now here's another young quarterback making a good decision. He's ready to throw. He sets up. He'll pump the football, and now he pulls it back and sees Craig Faulkner, makes the second decision, the right decision, and delivers the ball to Craig Faulkner, number 4, who just continues to make plays for Tennessee.
Good fake that time, goes to the end zone and got him turned around. And Heath knows it. He had Kendrick Jones open momentarily. Kendrick got turned completely around.
We showed a graphic early of Tennessee's consistency inside the 30. The last time they were inside the 20-yard line, they missed inside the 20 a little while ago, missed the field goal. They're back inside. They have to get points.
2:50 left until halftime. Play clock is down to 3, down to 2. Blitz coming up the middle. He just got it off, and it is caught and then dropped. Kendrick Jones, as you can see, got belted by Pledger.
For sure, crossed them all up and went to Georgia.
Third down, and they need the 9. Out in the flat, it is caught by Horn, the tight end, and he will struggle to the 10-yard line. He is a yard shy, and there was a flag at the 17. Mask against Georgia.
Ron, I think they're calling holding on Randall Godfrey, number 42. I believe that's the call. I think they called him for holding David Horn, number 82, who made the reception. But before the catch, I believe that was the call. Find out.
We have holding against the defense during the pass against an eligible pass receiver. Be 10 yards down.
Randall Godfrey, number 42, on his
half. But put an asterisk by that one. That is awfully big.
Timing's everything.
That's right. 2:36 left until halftime. Volunteers lead it by 1, and now Tretmain with the first and goal at the 9. Stewart down to the 4. Let's check in with Mike Tirico. Mike, what do you have for us?
This conference. I know you have feelings on it. We'll talk about it a little later, but I'd like to see them get a lead.
Second and goal. Schuler on the option, pitches at the last moment, and it's out of bounds. That will not be a touchdown. It's out at the 2.
You tell your tailback all the time, never give up, because the pitch could come to you any time. I think James Stewart gave up on the pitch. He thought Schuler was going to run it in the end zone. He gave up on the pitch. Schuler's moving toward the end zone. He pitches out. He's not ready for the pitch. James Stewart just dropped the football. Ray Goff excited. He was hoping to stay in bounds so they could recover it.
Well, he had a strange one last week where the foot of his player kicked one into the end zone, and South Carolina recovered it. It's third down. Garner. Touchdown, Big Orange.
They're going to get him on that again, so they're going to give Georgia good field position with 146. Can't celebrate, and there's the celebration, you see. But Charlie Garner to the crowd, I believe that's a call.
Beckford knocks it home. 14-6 Tennessee.
When you run the I formation, you better have a fullback that can block. Number 33, number 44, Mario Brunson. Just follow him right here. There's the first block by the motion guy. Now you'll see Mario Brunson with a key block right here. Kick out, touchdown, Charlie Garner.
Well, great game here tonight, and next week we'll have the #1 team in the nation against the number 50.
25 will be excited up
They're
there.
going to be excited. It's going to be a great game. And Mac Brown, the North Carolina coach, and his staff will not get any sleep this week when they watch those tapes of Florida State.
The crowd is upset because this is twice they have scored and twice they've been called for celebration. Now, Georgia has a really good chance here with 1:46 until halftime.
Last time they were stopped and didn't get it back to the 30. Let's see what they can do this time on the kickoff.
This is German. German's going to be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. That's really very good coverage. And let's take a look. This is what they were called for as far as the celebration. Well,
looks like Lawrence Welk.
Yeah, starts saying you need to get your money's worth if you're going to be penalized 15 yards.
I don't think he got his, do you?
No, I don't think so.
1 and a 2.
Didn't even stamp his wrist.
No, and there's no bubbles around either.
Zaire will get out of bounds and stop the clock with 1:41. James Wilson was the man in hot pursuit. Zaire just did a quick sidestep and was out of harm's way, able to stop the clock. Big pressure shovel pass to Mitchell, and the tight end. Did he get out of bounds? They say no. Clock will continue to run at the 34. Coming up at halftime, a lot to talk about. This was a big Saturday. Notre Dame and Michigan. Zaire gets it away. Tip, and boy, that was dangerous. As Jenkins, if he had gotten that tip ball, he could have walked it.
What you don't want if you're Georgia is just what's happening now. Pass protection is breaking down. You still got to get back to the mix. Now Tennessee has 2 timeouts left with 1 minute and 2 seconds to go to try to get back in here for field goal.
Well, we'll get another look at Scott Armstrong. He'll punt it away. Stands back at his 21. Sean Summers, the sophomore from Oak Ridge, is back deep. And they're coming after him. And it's a line drive. And anytime you're coming after him like that, normally the returner has to pay, and he did. Whit Marshall on the special teams.
But the clock is still running. The clock lost about 8 seconds here.
Mike, it happened a minute ago. They must be having trouble with the start and stop on it because the official had to ask him to go back and put 8 seconds on it.
Well, I don't see anybody questioning it here. They lost 10 seconds. They're down to 48 seconds. Especially at home, you want a guy with a good finger on the clock.
Well, the play is in motion, so they just lost it. Garner breaks it big. And he'll be run out of bounds at the 39-yard line by Buster Owens.
They better wake up the timekeeper because he's losing. He lost another couple seconds for Tennessee. Quick draw, but you see the good blocking of the Tennessee offensive line. Charlie Garner is hot. Makes things happen.
I'll tell you what, we'll put it in the box. Thank you, gentlemen. Nicely done, and we'll let you judge what's happening with the clock here.
Wide open.
Corey Fleming, and if he didn't have to turn around, he goes in for the score. Chad Wilson got turned to 360 on that play.
One thing and one thing only makes this play. Watch Heath Schuler come back and put his hand in here with a good fake and hide the football. The defensive back, look at the ball's hidden. He ducks his left shoulder a little bit. The corner bites on it, and Corey Fleming's wide open.
Mike, it's 31 yards. We have 2 quarterbacks here tonight that I think sell the fake as well as anybody.
It's a lost art, but it's not here tonight.
Fade for the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee, Corey Fleming.
Jerry Punch might have been on to something when he watched Phil Fulmer get on the offensive line on the other side, because they've been very active and they're protecting Heath Schuler.
Beckford knocks it home. And all of a sudden, the Volunteers out of their sleep. And with 20, this is the last thing Ray Goff wanted. He had momentum in the first half, but this right here really breaks it.
Ron, they regained the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what Jerry Punch overheard Phil Fulmer tell his team. Here's Corey Fleming on the fade route. Just can't throw it any better than that. Chad Wilson lost track of the football.
He did. He lost completely, and that's one of the reasons his ball identification was nil.
Ron, I'll tell you, when you look back at this ball game, John Beckford on his kickoffs has been the guy, because you penalize 15 yards. He's able to knock the ball down there and keep them inside the 30-yard line. He didn't give Georgia the field position you and I both thought they would get.
Because we were even thinking that maybe if they got a short kick, Georgia would even call for a fair catch to make sure they got decent field position.
Without a doubt. Special teams plus for Tennessee at this point.
Fleming now 7 catches, Michael, 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. And defensively for the Volunteers, it has been Jason Parker, who has a pass interception and also a fumble recovery.
There's your guy right now that's the most valuable player here in the first half.
How much is he going to like going to natural turf here next year? Because I think kickers like this artificial stuff.
I agree with you. You know they're going to sell this turf piece by piece. He'll buy a lot of it himself.
I would like to thank the Blockbuster Video Blimp for providing ESPN with these beautiful aerial views of Neyland Stadium tonight for this ball game between Georgia and Tennessee. And that is a magnificent sight indeed. We wouldn't have to tell you where you were looking when you see those checkerboard end zones, would we? Well, the man that he has so much respect for, his counterpart Heath Schuler, has just driven his team, and Eric Zier, every bit the same competitor, will go down on one knee. And you could look for him in the second half to come out with the same kind of fire.
Sometimes when you're coaching, here's Larry Marmey. He's up in the press box, and somehow he took the elevator down because he's on the field now, and he wants to get with that young secondary. And this is an excited Tennessee football team, Ron. You're right.
Well, that's the end of the first half with our score. Tennessee 21, Georgia 6. Stay tuned for the Delta Faucet halftime report. And Mike Godfrey, Tennessee had the momentum early, then they lost it, and then a couple of quick Tennessee waltzes, and that's the difference right now. What did you see as the difference?
Well, they've taken control of the ball game in the second half, late in the second half. But to me, the biggest part of this game is Georgia's ineffectiveness protecting the passer. Their offensive line is just having a terrible time with the front four of Tennessee.
We are just about set for the second half. In fact, they are lined up down on the field. And number 6, Parkman, will kick it off for the Georgia Bulldogs as we'll see the Volunteers in offense to open this second 30 minutes. Very short kick. In fact, taken at the 25-yard line. It's Aaron Hayden. And let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Gentlemen, at halftime, I spoke with Georgia coach Ray Goff in the locker room. He was very concerned, obviously very disappointed about the last minute and 40 seconds of the first half. They lost 2 touchdowns. But the biggest concern, the crowd noise, taking them out of their offense. He said Eric Zier makes a lot of calls at the line of scrimmage, and with the crowd noise, he can't do that. In the second half, they have 2 choices. They go shotgun or first down. So look for them to go shotgun primarily in this half. Back upstairs.
Okay, Jerry, we'll look. Tennessee with Garner close to the 40. Clemens will make the stop.
Ron, the advantage you have, what Jerry Punch is talking about, the advantage you have, if you're the Tennessee quarterback here, you can check off all night because the crowd allows you to. But if you're Eric Zier, this crowd takes you out of your automatic system and your checkoffs, and you really are at a disadvantage.
For Schuler in that first half, and Garner. Good cut right there. Across midfield and driving the defender back to the 44.
Both quarterbacks have been under control a little bit. You've noticed how well he's thrown the ball underneath. He's only had one throw of 31 yards. He's 14 for 19. He's Schuler in the first half against the Georgia defense.
Schuler with the first down as the ball on the Georgia 44-yard line. Little counter tray here and a nice defensive stop by Rosenberg, who will step up in the scene.
Now they've had some success to the left side. 7 carries, 37 yards. Not much success on the right side. A touchdown on the left side.
So the stats in Tennessee in the first half: 14 first downs, 21 carries, Mike, 104 yards. Total yardage 272 to 171 for Georgia. That's a nice one-handed catch by Faulkner, and he will have the first down of the check-in with Mike Tirico. Mike?
Back and play.
I think they will. You see the folks on the outside creeping up, and the look-in pass is knocked down, and Carlo Butler is the man of 171. Time of possession almost even. Just about 15 apiece. Garner runs into his own man, puts a head down, and they'll take the umpire with him. That's a tough spot to have to call. The man in the middle is the official who's called the umpire. And Jeff Smith was blocking, and he blocked a Georgia player. And watch the official right there in the middle. That's the umpire.
Ron, you see he's Schuler here. He sets up the passing game with a good fake, but he also sets up the running game because he'll come out of center here, and now he'll show a pass fake. Now watch, he doesn't give up on it. He shows a pass fake. That opened Charlie Garner.
A.C. Lambert Jr. is the guy who did a good job of trying to get out of the way and also not getting hurt. Oh, what a stick. Good heavens. Kendrick Jones has...
Watch Craig Faulkner down here. David Horn and Craig Faulkner.
Option back into the boundary. And Schuler, well, that shows right there what you get with him. He can throw the ball. He can fake well. But he also can run the football, and Georgia has a player down back at the 24-yard line. Wilson finally bumped him out of bounds.
Inside the 20, the option is tough to defend. Schuler's going to reverse out here and come down the line, but number 44 again is going to make a key block, Mario Brunson. Here's the option, fake to Mario Brunson. Now follow 44. There's the key block again, just nudged the defensive back to open up the play.
Daniels, the sophomore out of Donaldsonville. Understand that in that Kentucky-Florida game, 8:30 left to play. Glad to see Daniels come off the field on his own. Stewart. Oh, what a second and third effort. Touchdown, Tennessee. Three missed tackles along the way, and he caused the missed tackles, I think, with the second and third effort.
Momentum's entirely on Tennessee's side. They're just controlling the game up front in the line of scrimmage.
Bexford knocks it home. So let's take a break. 11:55 left in the third. Tennessee 28, Georgia 6. Of CFA Primetime Football is brought to you by Isuzu, makers of incredible four-wheel drives, and by Levi's loose-fitting jeans. So welcome back to Knoxville, Tennessee. 28-6, Tennessee leading. Next week we will be at Keenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Following the kickoff, we'll talk more about that. German. Now Mike coming up.
And everybody thinks it's going to be next week.
Charlie Ward with an excellent day today. The Johnsons
Got it armed and ready to go. Terrell Davis. North Carolina had over 700 yards of total offense today. Bryce Hunter, and he'll take it out to the 23, the 24-yard line.
Certainly is.
Blitz from the outside in the running play. That is a great effort by Reggie Ingram. If he doesn't make the tackle, Davis will have the first down and maybe a lot more.
The Georgia offense is playing against 12 people right now. The 11 defensive players in the crowd. They will not allow Eric Zier to check off. He cannot do it.
Armstrong to kick it away for the Bulldogs. Right there at the 46. And let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch, and he is with Joe Schuler, who is the father of Heath Schuler, down on the sideline. Jerry?
And reason to smile for Joe Schuler here on the Tennessee sideline. And Joe, as they get ready to take another possession in the second half, your young man, aside from his athletic skills, he's a very special young man.
Yeah, he is. He's just a super kid, and one thing I like about Heath is he's got great athletic ability, but he's just a great kid, and he never no problem. I mean, just a super kid. I mean, that's something special.
As you watch Heath come to center here in the second half, was there something he did as a youngster that made you realize he was really going to be a competitor?
Yeah, it didn't matter what he done. He was a great competitor, and he would do anything to win. And I mean, he was a good winner. It didn't bother him if he lost, but he would do anything to win, and I think that was the key there. And you could say it's something special.
A lot of parents feel blessed having one son playing Division I college football. You have two.
Yes, I'm very blessed. I'll tell you, it's been super. It's been super to have two of them over here at a great university.
Now I got to ask you, you're a mailman back in Bryson City, North Carolina. They must get great service on your route. They must come about 5 o'clock in the morning because you're over here watching practice quite a bit.
Yeah, I take off a lot. I enjoy coming and watching play. I always have, and it's really been super. And I work when I can.
Mr. Schuler, your young man, with Benji on the team, will that affect Heath's decision possibly to stay or go at the end of the year, having his younger brother here as a freshman?
Well, Heath is on schedule right now to graduate in 4 years. He's done a lot of extra work in the summertime, and I really feel Heath will be here for 2 more years, and he'll be able to play with Benji 2 years.
Now, as a mailman, did you like having to carry all that recruiting material you had to carry to your own house every day?
Yeah, it was neat. It sure was. It was great. It sure was. It was great.
We'll watch Heath back to pass. A little short, the incompletion. Mr. Schuler, thanks for coming out and joining us. Let you go back up there to your seat and enjoy the game.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Joe Benny Schuler, the father of Heath Schuler, coming all the way from Bryson City, North Carolina, to watch his son play here in his junior year. Gentlemen?
Okay, thanks, Jerry. Joe, we appreciate you coming down on the visit. Benji, interestingly enough, Schuler caught a touchdown pass last week, Mike, but it didn't come from his brother. It came from Jerry Colquitt, who is the backup quarterback for the Tennessee Volunteers, but he's in the scoring ledgers. He caught one in his very first game here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hutton with the punt. On the left footer, really hangs this one up there at the 5, and it is out of bounds at the 2. Let's take a break. Everything is going right for the Orange right now. We'll be right back. Leads 8:23 left in this third quarter. .736 left. Kentucky and Florida still tied at 17.
Not a good time to throw deep with Eric Zier here, backed up like you are.
Running play will take it out to the 5-yard line.
It's a credit to the Tennessee defensive plan.
Play action Johnson this time zings it over the middle, and he's got Mitchell as tight end. And let's check in with Mike Tirico. I think we have an update on that big SEC game between Kentucky and Florida. Michael?
Tennessee jumps into the catbird seat if Florida loses that ball game.
One of his few carries tonight, and he'll take it out to the 23-yard line.
Rick, it's been a tough first half for your young man.
It's been tough for the whole.
Chose Georgia. Why come to the Bulldogs? Well, Georgia had a quarterback situation where he could go in and compete the first year to start. Georgia and Alabama, and he's glad he came to Georgia.
Your young man, quite a competitor. Is he
got a lot of inside strength, tackle to tackle, and this year it seemed like we must be missing some of that because we're really struggling with these two games we played this year.
To stop their offense here, even early in the second half.
Well, you know, we continue to make mistakes this year, you know, and we're checking out 8-man. We're not checking out 8-man fronts on running situations and things like that. So it seems like Georgia's got a lot of growing up to do this year. That play's a good example. We can't get a pass off. Everybody's in our face all night long.
Mr. Zier, thanks for joining us here for a few minutes.
Jerry, thank you very much.
Rick Zier, the father of Eric Zier, and you can hear the noise, folks. It's awfully tough to hear down here on the sidelines. Ron?
Okay, Jerry, thanks very much, and we appreciate Rick coming over as well. Fathers are so proud of youngsters that compete on a Division I level, and it's very tough, particularly when you're losing a big ball game like this, but very well spoken, and I think you can tell by that interview with his dad maybe why discipline is a very big thing as far as his life. Fleming is back as the deep man for Tennessee this time and will be pushed out of bounds across the 50. 39-yard kick, so let's take a break. It's all Tennessee right now. Of thousands of people wearing orange at the stadium tonight. 28-6, and they're excited. And Jerry Colquitt, who is the #2 quarterback here at Tennessee, has just come in. He's a junior from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. 6'4", 219, and very mobile.
Good time to get him experience. You're ahead 28-6. Still don't want to lose the momentum that you've gained so far, but he's a good quarterback.
This is Hayden. Slices it up in there for about 4 yards.
Ron, for Georgia to get back in this game, they need a turnover bad. They need to turn the ball over and get it back to their offense with good field position. Now Schuler's turned into the guy that signals the play in.
And the interesting thing is, if you're the opposition, you don't know if he's the one who is live or if he's the dummy.
He's no dummy, let me tell you. He's live.
I'm a straight man, and you know what? I was hoping you'd say that anyway. This is Hayden. Can't turn the corner, and Georgia really has had his number tonight. Gottfried is the first man to get there, and Randall, the sophomore out of Valdosta, is there to knock him down quickly.
Frank Orgel, the linebacker coach for Georgia, told me about Randall.
Particularly in a year like they had last year. But the coaches say, yeah, he could be just one of the best they've had. Now watch him run. This is a 219-pound kid. And Colquitt out of bounds at the 21.5. Trimble finally runs him out of bounds. And you got everybody covered, and all of a sudden you get burned by that.
Well, Richard Bell, the defensive coordinator from Georgia, you can't draw up a better defense. Got everybody covered. You've got a good rush on Jerry Colquitt, but all of a sudden, because you're playing man coverage underneath, there's a lot of running room for the quarterback once he breaks that plane of the defensive lineman.
23 yards on the scramble. It's first down, Tennessee, as they stop the clock with 4:17 left in the third. Aaron Hayden over the man at the 10, first and goal, and let's go back and check in with Mike Tirico. What do you have now, Michael?
I think they'll announce it.
You'll hear the groan, yeah. Wow. Bill Curry and his guys almost pulled the biggest one of this early point of the decade as Hayden fights his way inside the 5 to the 4.
Ron, this SEC is so tough. It may be 2 losses and you're out of this division because Georgia
lost it barely, but they've got a loss. Hayden again, driving to the 1.5. That's Trimble again. Trimble's had a really good ball game tonight for the Bulldogs.
This is the way you make all your tailbacks happy. Charlie Garner got a touchdown. James Stewart ran well. Now you got Aaron Hayden in there. They can all go to the dance tonight happy because they've all done well tonight.
James Little Man Stewart. That's his nickname. He doesn't run like a little man, though. Scott Pfeiffer comes in at tight end. Number 89, he'll join just inside 2 yards for the touchdown. As Keith Schuler looks on and cheers on his teammate, Jerry Colquitt. Colquitt will take it in himself. And who jumps highest on the bench? Keith Schuler.
You know when you have a team, when your starting quarterback is happy for the backup to score a touchdown in the 3rd quarter. That's team unity.
So Colquitt scores for the Volunteers, and all of a sudden it is 34-6. Just over 2 minutes to play in the 3rd. Next Saturday, be sure to tune in to ESPN for a full day of football. The 12th
from San Jose, but I think Bill Walsh will have that club prepared and very tough at home.
San Jose's his alma mater. Boy, he'd have hated to lose that one today. John Ralston, the coach at San Jose, an excellent coach, almost pulled the upset.
John Becksport will kick it off as the party has started here in Knoxville. The chants. Deep into the end zone. He won't try to return it. Let's go back down to Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Gentlemen, current Volunteer head coach Philip Fulmer came to Knoxville from tiny Winchester, Tennessee in 1968. Recruited as an offensive lineman, as a linebacker, he was first listed as an end, but wound up playing offensive line. During the 3 years that Fulmer was opening holes up front, the Volunteers record an impressive 30-5. Back upstairs.
Jerry, what he told us in our meeting yesterday, he said once it didn't take him very long to get on campus and see the folks they had playing defense were better than he was. He just wanted a chance to play, so he didn't have to have his arm twisted to move over to the offensive side of the ball.
You think he's spoiling these fans? Do they think he can lose a game?
No, he wins this one tonight. He's 6-0 as the head coach. You know, here's the difference in this ball game. When we talk about Ray Goff and the loss of players, one of the guys I think Georgia's missing as much as anybody is Max Strong, the gentleman.
The fullback, Mario Brunson, is the ideal fullback for Tennessee, what he's accomplished tonight.
Desire will take it to the 27. Tonight, for instance, Tennessee has used 7 different ball carriers. For Georgia, Ray Goff has used 3. Tip and almost complete as Galen got a hand on it. Second ball that he's tipped tonight.
Ron, we talked about earlier the loss of Andre Hastings and Garrison Hurst. That's what you lost. Well, people will say Ray Goff should be able to recruit other people, but when you recruit a Garrison Hurst.
Armstrong's kick coming down to Corey Fleming. In the kick and 12 on the return. By the way, piloting the blockbuster video blimp for tonight's game is Terry Dillard of Lake Monroe, Florida. Terry, we say welcome and thanks for the wonderful pictures tonight.
Heath Schuler's back in the game also, Ron. So they gave backup quarterback Jerry Colquitt a series. Now they're bringing Heath Schuler back.
Rose Phillips is the lone setback.
It's Benji Schuler. He's a pitch and catch from brother to brother.
That's one of the reasons they brought him back in the ball game, so he could throw to his brother, make dad and the family happy, and the Tennessee fans. But the other thing is, there's still a lot of time in this ball game, and you want to get your timing down. It's early in the season. They blew out Louisiana Tech last week, so they want to make sure he gets an opportunity to play and improve with his offensive team.
And now Schuler wants a timeout, stopping the clock with 16 seconds left in the third quarter. And given the coach is probably just as soon he had run it on down and let the quarter go out.
Eastman Chemical Company asks you to join them in the Tennessee recycling effort. Please put your
rushing yardage tonight, Tennessee 214 on 36 attempts, Georgia 93, 22 attempts.
Whoever controls the running game, and that's it. I mean, that's who was going to win the football game tonight, because that took the pressure off the quarterback. And
well, since 1989 at 9-9-2 when they rush under 200 yards. And over 200 yards, they are 30-0.
Was that a yeah?
That was the group heading to breakfast this morning.
Few drinks last night.
Mose Phillips shy of the 45-yard line, and that'll be the last play of the third quarter as Rosenberg steps up to make the tackle. So let's take a break as we head to the final 15 minutes. Tennessee in total control, 35-6. We'll be right back. Tennessee 35-6 over the Georgia Bulldogs as we head to the final 15 minutes of play. And Mike, the statistics in the third quarter, Tennessee 127 yards total offense and Georgia 38.
Total domination in the third quarter, but you won't find this Georgia team quitting at all. Still playing hard for Ray Goff.
Like a little confusion on that play. Let's go to Mike Tirico. Mike, what do you have for us?
Ron.
Interceptions for him tonight. So, but as Mike said, I'll tell you what, the Florida coaching staff is very, very good. You've got to play him for 60 minutes.
You can never count them out because they throw the ball so well. Here, Tennessee, this is an interesting call, Ron. 4th down and 1, and they're going to go for it here.
Surely it's only to try to draw them offside, or they now have gotten a delay of game penalty, so this will give them time to get the special teams on.
Give them a chance to punt.
Well, coach and quarterback are laughing, so.
See, he's making it look easy, Phil Fulmer. See, just winning all the time. That just doesn't happen. There's going to be a day. And, you know, next week in Florida really, I think, is a pivotal game for this Tennessee football team.
McCraney is back deep for Georgia. He is cutting away to snap back at the 37. Fair catch, and now here comes the flag.
In fact, he was able to keep most of his staff. He really only lost Charlie Cole to the Pittsburgh, to Johnny Majors, then lost another coach to the pros. But when you can keep your staff together when you're moved up as the head coach, then business goes on as usual. And I think Phil Fulmer's done a nice job here, and his staff and his team has benefited from the fact he's been able to keep everybody together.
Yeah, this is a good staff, good hard-working staff.
They're solid. 2 good game plans tonight. Larry Marmie on defense, really with a challenge of Eric Zier, and then David Cutcliffe on offense against a good Georgia defense.
So Eric Zier will scrimmage from just shy of his own 9-yard line.
crosses the 15. And let's take a look at the quarterback comparisons through 3 quarters. Zaire 15 of 26, 114 yards, 1 interception. And Heath Schuler 16 of 27, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Both defenses have accomplished what they wanted to. Do not let the deep ball be thrown by either quarterback. And Eric Zaire has been frustrated, but again, everything's on his shoulders, Ron.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, they had to be able to run the football, and also pass protection was so important. Turned the corner and not going to have the first down, though. It's a 17. And let's get a report from Jerry Punch.
There.
Davis, big opening. He will have the first down. Big third down play. Jason Parker makes the tackle. Nick Jester, who has come into the ballgame, number 45, is a sophomore out of Delray Beach, Florida.
With the loss of Hurst, we've talked about it in Hastings. Terrell Davis now has to step up. He has 20 rushes for 106 yards. In
fact, Terrell Davis has got 98% of their carries tonight on the ground. Puts his shoulder down, running hard right there. In fact, it was Sean Summers that he collided with.
I think a disadvantage for Georgia starting the season was starting to play 2 league games right off the bat. I think that's terrible scheduling by the SEC. When you put them at home against South Carolina, then you send them over to Tennessee. I mean, 2 league games before you actually you get into the heat of things. It'd be nice if you could start with an independent or start with somebody out of league, so you get a chance to find out a little bit about your football
team. They stumbled early last year and then came on like a house of fire. They finished very strong. Davis turns the corner, will have the first down, pops up the football, and it has been picked up by Tennessee's Jason Parker. Still on his feet, and Parker's going to be pushed out of bounds, and that is 2 fumble recoveries and a pass interception for him tonight.
Frustration on Ray Goff's face, and Larry Marmey, the defensive coordinator, said, let's just keep them in front of us, force some turnovers, and we'll win this football game. A nice defensive plan by Larry Marmey, the defensive coordinator. Nick Jester, number 45, is going to pull the ball loose. Number 7, Jason Parker, and he looks like a running back, Ron. You said that they started 9 games as a freshman. Took off with the football.
Both sides of the football getting to celebrate tonight, the offense and the defense. Stewart, junior out of Morristown, Tennessee.
Ron, they'll have the same problem, Tennessee, next week when they go to Florida. Heath Schuler will have the same problem that Eric Zaire had tonight, checking off with that crowd. You know how loud it is down there in Florida.
You know, they really have created a monster down there. In fact, the Florida players, even at times, really have to get on their own fans. You can't hear since they closed in that other end zone. That is
one
really
of the loudest.
Yeah. A late flag in.
The offensive line in Tennessee is just knocking the Georgia front off the ball. Bill Fulmer challenged him early, responded. And every now and then they'll hold him when they knock him off.
Well, while they're marking off the penalty, this is what Tennessee has in store for them. Next week at Florida, then LSU here, then a couple on the road at Arkansas and Alabama in Birmingham. On the 30th, they get a break before they play South Carolina here, then at Kentucky. And they close it out with Vanderbilt.
Ron, the key games at 10-9 at Arkansas. Danny Ford's got him going down there. 2 big wins to start off the season against SMU and South Carolina. So he may be creating a good football team down there without a draft choice. He's only had 1 recruiting year.
Oh, I don't have any doubt that that he will put together a winner. He's always been a very, very fine coach.
You and Danny are fishing buddies, aren't you?
We did go fishing one time. Almost caught Fred Gaudelli. We'd have thrown him back. Schuler's pass knocked down. And let's check in with Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Guys, we told you how noisy it gets here at Neyland Stadium. When Ray Goff mentioned at halftime the noise was taking them totally out of their offense. Well, let me show you. I've been holding a noise meter here, and it's pegged right now here in the end zone as Tennessee marches in. That's 120 decibels. How loud is 120 decibels? Well, it's when a 727 takes off. That's exactly the noise you hear. It's deafening down here on the floor at Neyland Stadium. Back upstairs.
What did he say?
Couldn't hear him.
9 minutes and 50 seconds left in this one. 35-6. Stewart. Little man on the move inside the 15 down to the 14. Trimble finally tripped him up, and it's a 1st and 10 Tennessee.
Here's the little man, James Stewart, nicknamed Little Man. Busts away from Mitch Davis. Mitch Davis had an angle at him and just couldn't close on him because he was able to cut back, then gives a little juke step. Greg Trimble, number 24, makes the tackle.
To the 8, Chad Wilson comes up to make the hit for Georgia. Here's the Georgia schedule. At Mississippi, then at home Arkansas, on the road at Vanderbilt, and then they have Kentucky, Florida, and Auburn.
Tough schedule.
Nobody fooled on that one as Buster Owens, number 3, came through and made the hit. Mike, it's interesting in looking at the statistics. Schuler threw 23 first-half passes. He's only thrown 5 times in the second half.
Totally controlled the running game. And Jerry Punch, when he went behind the bench, and the offensive line was challenged by Phil Fulmer and was challenged by the other coaches on the staff, they just came out and they just took over the line of scrimmage. They've just controlled it since that point.
Stewart dodging and darting, and Walter Rouse, a freshman from Cordell, Georgia, will trip him up, and the kicking team will come on for Tennessee. I have a feeling it's the last time we'll see number 21 tonight. Wouldn't you?
Oh, I agree. I think he's done for the night. Go get a shower and get ready for the party tonight.
No sense in taking a chance. As you look at John Bexford, here's a young man. The kicking game is in very good hands with this gentleman and also with Tom Hutton, don't you think?
Oh, that was a big part of the game tonight, too. The kicking game for Tennessee was a real edge for the Vols.
Bexford knocks it home from 26, so we'll take a timeout. 38-6, Tennessee. We'll be right back. And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Welcome back to Knoxville. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Dr. Jerry Punch. 7:29 left in this ball game. In Tennessee, after one slight period of time in that second quarter where they kind of fell asleep and the momentum went over toward the Georgia Bulldogs, then they grabbed it back just before halftime with 14 quick points, and it's been all orange since then. 38-6 now. Side, and he'll wind up with a good return out to the 38. Showed us a timeout. 7:18 left in the ball game. We'll be right back to Knoxville. Tennessee has dominated in this ball game since late in that second quarter, and right now 38-6. In fact, way this is going right now, to be the worst, or close to the second worst loss to Tennessee by a Georgia team. And let's check in with Mike Tirico. Mike, what do you have for us now?
Ron, Memphis State.
Question they could come back. Greg Goff has got to be terribly disappointed, but Mike, as you mentioned earlier, not to make any excuses for him, but 5 guys into the pros as you look at Sterling Boyd knocked down. And the other thing that fans and alumni don't understand, you recruit players on a schedule with when other folks are graduating. That's one of the things that the junior eligibility thing, or when they leave school early, which throws off the entire networking as far as keeping the holes filled.
It's not excuses, Ron. It's facts. I mean, Garrison Hurst is sitting on that Georgia campus. You're not going to get a great running back while he's there. Nope. All of a sudden he leaves early and you're not prepared for that early leave, and they haven't been able. They've lost too many players.
Still got it. Nice fake. Throws the ball, and Meadows dropped it. Meadows is another kid. He's a freshman. They're looking for big things out of him. Big target at 6'7", 247. Armstrong to kick, and Billy Williams goes back deep. Makes the catch, and he's not going to go very far. 33 yards and a kick, 1 on the return, and we'll take a timeout. 5:47 left to play. Tennessee 38-6. You can see that the rib pads have come off, so his night is over. In fact, we have a new quarterback, number 2, Todd Helton, sophomore from right here in Knoxville. And this is Jay Graham, the running back. Helton, an interesting story, Mike. He passed up baseball. He was the first pick. Actually was in the 2nd round with San Diego. He's a southpaw, and he wanted to play football here for Tennessee. So a very good baseball player, but football was number 1 on his mind, being from right here in Knoxville.
Did it have anything to do with Fred McGriff and all those guys leaving San Diego?
I don't know. That's one question we didn't ask. Back to Graham. He tried to turn the corner, and Georgia's not going to allow that. And what Tennessee did not want to happen was for him to run out of bounds. Todd Helton, 6'1", 194 pounds. He's a sophomore. He was on the squad last year.
The dilemma you have as a coach is you'd like to let him throw the football a little bit, but you don't want any more points. You don't want to run up the score, but you really like to see what he can do throwing the football in a live situation.
Now we're going to see what he can do running. Reverses his field, and he's got good maneuverability. Going to pick up the first down. On a 3rd down play, Marvin Nolan will finally stop him.
Bill Rosenberg, the middle guard for Georgia, made a good play on that to stop the run and force Todd Helton to roll out the other side. There's nothing there. Herman Bell, number 93, Bill Rosenberg on the play. Todd Helton switch to the left side for the first down.
So next Saturday night, we will be in Chapel Hill. Florida State, number 1 ranked team against North. And Florida State had over 600 yards. I have a feeling that statisticians should be well rested and prepared for that one.
And have a lot of pencils. One thing about Bobby Bowden's team is they're not taking any prisoners this year so far. He's killing everybody.
Graham again, and he's close to the first down, although they'll say his knee touched just shy of the 40.
Bobby Bowden's team is just waxing everybody around. I mean, he's got some tough games ahead starting with North Carolina, but Clemson's a pretty good football team.
Close to the first down. I don't know if Graham got it or not.
But today, they beat Clemson like no Clemson team has ever been handled by Florida State. Very few teams have beaten Clemson the way they were beaten today. In fact, Florida State, you talk about waxing opponents, they have outscored their opponents 144-7.
A lot of wax, that is.
It goes without saying. That's the best start in that team's history.
Bobby Bowden's a fine gentleman. He's got a nice staff down there, and he's got a pretty fair football team.
And on fourth down, they go for it, and they make it. And Mike Tirico, let's check with you one more time.
A couple years ago, and when you're quarterback in Howard Snellenberger's system, he's going to bring out the best in you. Howard's one of the best quarterback coaches in the country.
What you forget is Brom not only is back, they've got 7 returning starters on defense, Mike. Helton on the keeper goes inside the 30. And the most important thing, he stays in bounds, and the clock goes under 2 minutes.
Howard has done a nice job at Louisville when you talk about the program, where it's at, and what he's accomplished.
33-14, he's now on top in the third quarter. Somebody else we need to pay tribute to is Lou Holtz, one of the best big game coaches, I think, that the college football has seen in a while.
Big win for him today. I've said this many times when I coached against him. I thought he did the best job of preparing his football team week to week. If he played a team he's supposed to beat, he beat him. If he played a team he's an underdog to, like today, he beat him. He knows how to prepare a game plan.
Well, it was a 10-point underdog, and when you go to the big house to play a Michigan team the way they had to today, I thought that was very impressive.
Things change every week in college football, and you can't enjoy it. Those coaches are home tonight that won. They're eating the pizza and sitting around, but their thoughts are going to go tomorrow to their next opponent. And if you lost, you can't wait to get back to find out what happened. And try to redeem yourself.
Well, tonight's Visa players of the game are from the University of Georgia, Terrell Davis, 22 rushes, 131 yards, a 6-yard average. And from the University of Tennessee, Corey Fleming, 8 receptions, 117, and 2 touchdowns. And as part of their continuing effort to further the development of amateur athletics, Visa proud to donate $1,000 to each of these universities and $1,000 to the U.S. Olympic team on behalf of these athletes. Vicinity of the 15-yard line, and finally time to take the headsets off and celebrate. Crowd will count it down. 3 seconds, 2 and 1, and that's it from Neyland Stadium in Knoxville with the final score: Tennessee 38 and Georgia 6. Be sure to join us next week at 7:30 for another edition of CFA Primetime, Florida State and North Carolina. For Mike Gottfried, Adrian Karsten, Jerry Punch, and our entire ESPN crew, Ron Franklin saying so long, and let's go to Mike Tirico.
Okay, Ron, thank you. That equals Georgia's worst loss in 16 years, the 32-point win by the Big Orange in Knoxville. And next week, as you mentioned, they get Florida. The coach and Craig are going to join me for our scoreboard show. We'll take you up to the top of the hour when Baseball Tonight will follow.
Of Tennessee. Unlike the Dogs, the Vols open their campaign with a 50-point shutout, and we're ready to make it 2-0 for 1993, and that's exactly what they did. Heath Schuler to Corey Fleming, the lethal duo for Georgia. They hooked up twice in the first half, and it helped Fulmer and Heath and the entire Volunteer faithful. Enjoy a Saturday night in Knoxville. Ray Goff suffering. Heath Schuler and the Vols just cruises.
So Corey Fleming in the flat. He is gone. 21 yards. Tennessee leads at 7-zip. Second quarter, time winding down. Schuler, pretty fade pass to Fleming in the corner. Tennessee up 21-6. Eric Zier, well, he was prone for most of this game. Tennessee wins it 38-6. We will have much more college football coming your way in a moment or two.
Back to base.
Balls venture into the Florida swamp where the Gators are unbeaten under Spurrier. Later.
Well, in the SEC Eastern Division, Fulmer 6-0 as the Vols head coach. Spurrier unbeaten at Florida Field. And he'll make a quarterback change. We believe Danny Wuerffel, the redshirt freshman, will get the start, his first career start after Wuerffel and Terry Dean combined for 7 interceptions a week ago. Heath Schuler, very solid for the Vols quarterback position.
Well, Schuler's usually, and most quarterbacks are in their own mind, concerned about defensive linemen, defensive backs, and their coverage. But on Saturday, Schuler's going to have a different kind of monster to deal with, the fans, which can affect the timing of an offense. I was at this game 2 years ago when Tennessee had a better team but lost. It was one of the 2 loudest stadiums I'd ever been in. Tennessee's offense was going back to the sidelines complaining about not hearing the snap count. The result was turnovers. Schuler and the ground game of Tennessee must be effective early in the game to keep the Gator crowd kind of quiet.
Who wins?
Hey, I was at that game. I said I'd never pick against Florida. Florida will find a way to win.
I agree with him. You know, Tennessee could beat Florida anywhere in the world, except it's tough to fight a Gator in a swamp. I'm taking Florida by 2 points because of Eric Rev and a short passing game. I think Florida's going to win this one.
Florida very concerned about Tennessee's run, much more than Schuler's pass. It's tough to bet up against him at home. Meanwhile, Colorado point play against Kentucky. He's not on the depth chart. They list him as very doubtful, but I was in Gainesville and some Gators told me they'd be shocked if he didn't play. The Gators have good depth of receiver anyway.
Ninth-ranked Florida. Can the Tennessee Vols stop Florida this week, who are coming off an emotional win against Kentucky?
Wuerffel dropping back to throw. Thompson fires the ball over the middle. It's there! It's there! Touchdown!
And a tough trip for the Vols. They haven't won at Gainesville since 1971 when their head coach, Philip Fulmer, was a senior offensive